Abdu'l-Baha was not afraid of silence. Indeed, he knew its virtue. Howard Colby Ives has recalled, to the questioner he responded first with silence, an outward silence. His encouragement always was that the other should speak and he listen. There was never that eager tenseness, that restlessness so often met, showing most plainly that the listener has the pat answer ready the moment he should have a chance to utter it. And Ives recounts a charming story about another Unitarian minister who was interviewing Abdu'l-Baha for an article on the Baha'i faith. His questions were long. The master listened with unwearied attention, replying mostly in monosyllables, but relaxed and interested. A great understanding love flowed from him to the minister. Ives grew impatient, but not the master. His guest must be heard fully. When at last his questioner paused, after a brief silence, Abdu'l-Baha spoke to him with wisdom and love, calling him my dear son. Within 5 minutes, the minister had become humble, for the moment at least, a disciple at his feet. Then Abdu'l-Baha arose, lovingly embraced the doctor and led him towards the door. At the threshold he paused. His eyes had lighted upon a large bunch of American beauty roses. He laughed aloud, stooped, gathered the whole bunch in his arms, and placed them all in the arms of his visitor. Never shall I forget that round, bespectacled, gray head above that immense bunch of lovely flowers. So surprised, so radiant, so humble, so transformed. One day, Abdu'l-Baha was going from Akka to Haifa and asked for a seat in the stagecoach. The driver, surprised, said, "Your Excellency surely wishes a private carriage." "No," replied the master. While he was still in the coach in Haifa, a distressed fisherwoman came to him. All day she had caught nothing, and now she must return to her hungry family. The master gave her 5 francs, then turned to the driver and said, "You now see the reason why I would not take a private carriage. Why should I ride in luxury when so many are starving?" On one occasion, Abdu'l-Baha told about a happy day in Iraq. "Once, when I lived in Baghdad, I was invited to the house of a poor thorn picker. In Baghdad, the heat is greater even than in Syria, and it was a very hot day. But I walked 12 miles to the thorn picker's hut. Then his wife made a little cake out of some meal for me and burnt it in cooking it so that it was a black, hard lump. Still, that was the best reception I ever attended." During Abdu'l-Baha's last days in America, the Baha'is were eager to show their love and gratitude by contributions of money, but these he refused. "I am pleased with your services," he told them, "and I am grateful for all you have done for me. Now you have brought presents for the members of my family. They are acceptable, but the best of all presents is the love of God, which remains preserved in the treasuries of hearts. Material presents remain for a time, but this lasts forever. These presents require chests and shelves for safekeeping, while this is preserved in the repositories of the minds and hearts, and remains eternal and immortal forever in the divine worlds. I shall, therefore, convey to them your love, which is the most precious of all gifts. No one uses diamond rings in our home, and no one wants rubies. That house is free from all these things. I, however, accept your presents, but I leave them in your safekeeping, with the request that you will kindly sell them and send the proceeds to the funds for the Mashghul Askar." A friend had sent some fur so that the master could have a good warm coat. He had it cut up and made into 20 caps for the elderly men of the town. Whenever Abdu'l-Baha discussed the importance of teaching the Baha'i faith, he spoke with emphasis, and in his will and testament he wrote, "Of all the gifts of God, the greatest is the gift of teaching." The disciples of Christ forgot themselves and all earthly things, forsook all their cares and belongings, purged themselves of self and passion, and with absolute detachment scattered far and wide, and engaged in calling the peoples of the world to the divine guidance, till at last they made the world another world. Let them that are men of action follow in their footsteps. The Master's humility was shown in many ways. He desired no name or title except that of Abdu'l-Baha, the servant of God. He forbade pilgrims to fall at his feet. In the early days in Akka, he cooked for his fellow prisoners, and later, when entertaining visitors at his table, he sometimes served his guests himself, a practice he recommended to other hosts. When Baha'u'llah lived at Bahji and Abdu'l-Baha at Akka, the Master would visit his father once a week. He liked to do this on foot, and when asked why he did not ride to Bahji, he responded by asking, "Who am I that I should ride where the Lord Christ walked?" However, his father requested him to ride, so in order to comply, the Master rode out of Akka, but when he sighted Baha'u'llah's mansion, he dismounted. Baha'u'llah used to watch out for his approach from his second-floor window, and as soon as he saw him coming, he would joyously tell his family to go out to meet him.